Alright everybody, welcome along to Your Physique Radio. This is episode number 6. It is July the 1st, 2012. My name is Colin Kennedy and I am joined on the line as always by Craig Clifford back home in Ireland. Craig, we had the Hartford Pro just yesterday, Saturday night. How did you see the results? Give us a rundown, top 6, and let us know your opinions.
Okay, well, we'll start off. Hello to you, Colin. Hello to all the listeners. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Coming in first place in Connecticut, in Hartford, we have Juan Diesel Morel. At number 2, we got Mo Bendout. Number 3, Essa Obiad. Number 4, Fred Smalls. And number 5, Ronaldo Gairi. And there's no sixth placing. I suppose everyone else played 6th, whatever. But you've seen the run of it, Colin, and you've seen the pictures, you've seen some video. How did you see it? Did they fall into the position you thought they would, or not?
You know what, they probably didn't. Now again, I'm just looking off of pictures as opposed to a video or being there in person, as we all do when we're looking online. And you know, I see Essa Obiad to be fighting for first place. He takes 3rd. I wasn't so sure. I'm looking at the winner, Juan Morel, and you know, there's no flaw in his physique, but there's nothing where it's, I tell you what, the one big thing that he has going for him, he's got a wide shoulders, narrow waist, and his legs flare out. And as I've said many times before, that's what I like to see. But this is kind of the exception to the rule. He doesn't seem to have the wow factor. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at the guy for too long and I'm just picking him apart for no reason. But I just don't think he has all the hype that's kind of behind him at the moment. You know, the Americans do get favoured a little bit at the smaller shows, whereas Essa is coming from France or somewhere like that. He's definitely not an American, and I just think Essa looks a lot harder. He looks much better to me just standing there relaxed than Juan Morel. And then in the middle, in 2nd place, you got Mohamed Bendout or Mo Bendout. He's big legs, but his waist matches his legs. Is pretty big too. He's in condition, absolutely he's in condition. I'm looking at a picture right now and you can see striations in his glutes. And, you know, he's a big boy, but I don't know. I could argue possibly Juan Morel first, Essa 2nd, and then Mo in 3rd, but I don't see Essa taking 3rd and Mo taking 2nd. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, again, no, and everyone, just like Colin said, you have to consider this, we weren't there, so we're just showing them what we've seen, okay? From the pictures and from the short bits of video. And I'm checking out some comparison photos, especially this morning, and I'd be honest, I can't see how Essa Obiad isn't the winner of this show. And that's no disrespect to Juan Morel, no disrespect at all. He looked fantastic, but I just thought Essa Obiad looked really, really crisp, really hard. He was grainy, he was in great condition, the hamstrings, everything was in tight. Oh my God, I just thought he looked very, very good. And so did Juan Morel, but not as good, I thought. Now, for Mo Bendout, I probably would have had him a toss-up between him and Juan Morel for 2nd or 3rd. Either way, it wouldn't have bothered me. But what does bother me is Essa coming 3rd, and being honest, I think he should have came 1st. Being 2nd, I might have been a little happier, but with 3rd, I don't see it. I honest to God, I don't see it. I know Juan Morel, it's Hartford, Connecticut, he's a New York guy, so it's quite local, it's only around the corner. Like you said, he might be favoured. One guy that came in 4th place, Fred Smalls. Now, this guy has got ridiculous amounts of muscle, and I mean, if he can get in a couple of % lower body fat, or he can get rid of some of that water, oh my God, he'd win the show, hands down, if he's better condition. Hands down. It's not even a competition if he's in good shape. But he looks like he's about 2 or 3 weeks away. You know, I hate saying it, I really do, but I hate criticising anybody because it's tough to get on that stage, especially at a pro level. And who would be to judge, but look, I'm only giving my opinion, and I think he wins the show hands down if he's in better shape. And that Richard Gairi guy, kind of like I said last week, he's a bit narrow, he's fantastic physique, but if he can, and he has plenty of room to pack on, you know, if he does lots of deadlifts now and lots of rows and things like that, especially in his back, to picking it up, he will do damage. So that's running out the top 5. Did you see Fred Smalls, and what did you think of him, Colin?
You know, I'm actually looking at him right now, and I don't think it's a body fat issue, but he's definitely holding water there. He's very blurry to look at. You know, I'm looking at one really long vein running from his mid-abdominal right down to his posing trunks, and you're not going to see that if you're holding any additional body fat. So absolutely, it was a water retention thing, or he carved up incorrectly, carved up too much, I would imagine, and he's holding water from that. He looks soft. Now, put him into an amateur show and he wouldn't even do very good there, I don't think, with this condition. You know, he's definitely got the size of a pro, and he's got the separation that you're looking for. You can clearly see where his pec starts and finishes, and the muscles themselves, but really getting into the fine detail, and he looks soft, he looks very watery. I just think he messed up on his carb up, or whatever happened, but he's in next week in the Wings of Strength show in Chicago, so hopefully he can bring it back down and get to where he needs to be, because like you said, he's got all the muscle in the world that he needs. He's just on the day, and maybe he was great the day before, maybe he was excellent on Thursday or Friday morning, but come Saturday night he's not looking the way he should to take a top 3 place, and rightly so, he lands in 4th, but even at that I don't know if he should have been in 4th place.
Yeah, I know, I kind of agree, like, to be honest. I think the fact that, again, being American and that his name is known, that's maybe got him in there. You know, looking at the other guys who came 6th, and I think there was another 8 or 9 competitors that came in that position. Again, it's not a very, very, very tough line, to be fair. Like, any of them, they weren't great. I think that's why Fred Smalls got 4th. If one of these outsiders came in with a bit of decent condition, he could have snuck into the top, you know. But I will just to get back to SF for a minute.
Yep.
I mean, his side chest shot was ridiculous. Like, his rear double bicep was ridiculous. I mean, I looked at the comparison pictures. I know I'm stressing this again, but I'm obviously missing something, Colin. I really must be. Again, and hopefully when we have the IFBB judge on, he might be able to go dig deeper into this and make us feel a bit better about what we should be looking for rather than what we are looking at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at one of my picks to place in the top 3 from last week, and AD Cherry, and my God, this guy, he must have stopped training for the last 6 months before the show. He's his pecs are way out of proportion in terms of they're much smaller than everything else. He just looks soft from the front. He looks. I mean, he's got a big frame, but he just doesn't look like he's got very much muscle. And he's got big caps on his shoulders and his delts, but then his arms don't really match up, and his chest is way down, and there's not much separation through the abs. So bad call on my part last week to pick this guy for the top 3. It was you got to give everyone credit to get up there and to do the competition prep, and they show up on competition day. But absolutely the biggest thing I'm looking at right now, that he hasn't got his chest. He's doing his front double bicep and his chest is gone. Like, it's absolutely gone. That should not happen when you're at the pro level. You should hang on to chest muscle even when your hands are over your head. It just disappeared. I know, it's kind of crazy. He's got a good hang on his hamstring in the side chest, but then his quad looks small. He looks really off balance there in his show, and I don't know, man. This guy needs to go back and think about what he's going to do for the next show, and I believe he's entered into next week as well in the Chicago Wings of Strength, so we'll see what miracles he can try and pull off. But if I were him, I'd take the cancellation fine or the pull-out fine, and I just move on and wait till next year and come back, because it's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. That's our top 3 and 5, and kind of who we think should have done better, who we think shouldn't have even been in the show. It wasn't the best lineup for the year by far, but look, it's something for the fans to go and see, and it's something for some guys to get qualified. And you know, Juan Morel comes in first. I'm not disappointed that he's going to make the Olympia stage this year, but he's not going to place on the Olympia stage. He's not going to take top 10. I don't know if he'll go forwards and actually do the Olympia, Craig. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe not. I might be still a step away from him, because I mean, I think he's like 5'8", 5'9", so I think he's quite tall. But at the same time, he still has he can still pack on a good bit more muscle on his frames. So, and he's young enough as well, as far as I know. So he still has plenty of years left in him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's in his late 20s.
I'm winning the show, but in my eyes, you didn't win.
He wins, he gets his first pro win, and it's only his second year as a pro, I believe, or is it a second year, Craig, or is he a first timer this year?
He did the New York Pro was his debut this year. Fourth in New York this year.
So to me, taking fourth place in New York is better than winning this show.
Yeah.
Now, points wise, that isn't the case, and Olympia qualifying, that isn't the case. But look, it is what it is. If he goes forward to the Olympia, wish him the best. Same with Essa Obiad and Fred Smalls, Dorius Cherry. Any of these guys, look, we're critiquing for the sake of critiquing. Try harder to make the Olympia, or even just get up there and say, you know what, I'm on stage, I got a competitor's medal or a participation medal, and well done, good for you. But I'm sorry, none of these guys that we've seen this past weekend at Hartford, Connecticut, are going to place anywhere in the top 10 come Olympia at end of September.
That's true.
That's true. This was the only bodybuilding class. There was not a 212 class. Alright, well, next week, guys, then we've got Wings of Strength in Chicago, July 6th and 7th. Craig, you've got a list of competitors. Give us a rundown of who's entered for next week.
Alright, so guys, we've got 12 in the open category with Balto, who went on this week as well, and he's coming in next week, Balto Abaspor. We've got Gregory Atoyan, but I'm not 100% sure if he's actually going to go into this. Just it might be a quad issue. Steve Burke, Omar Deckard, Jamal Ahmed Al Madwi, Eric Frankhauser, Eddie Cherry, Valentine James, Henry Katze, Manuel Lumeli, I'm pardon my pronunciation, guys, and Nguyen and Freddie Smalls is back in again. And there's only 5 competitors in the 212. That's unfortunate, but it's Ahmed is Derek Farnsworth, Sola Ojex, Paniche Pierre, and Rizio Tapia. That's who we got, the 5 from the 212. So, just on the 212 there, Colin, there's only 2 guys I know, Derek Farnsworth and Ahmed. So, I'm going to say they're going to come 1 and 2. Might be an outsider, I don't know. And as far as the open category, we have a return of Omar Deckard. We haven't seen him for a while. Eric Frankhauser, I was talking to him in Birmingham a few weeks back, and he was hoping to get into the top 3 in this. So, and it doesn't, I mean, he's got crazy legs, alright. His upper body was maybe a little small at the time, but that was only in a t-shirt, I couldn't really see. Fred Smalls gets the condition right, he probably wins the show. There's no one else going to really challenge in my eyes. Omar Deckard, it's probably been 3 years since I've seen the guy, so I don't know how he's going to look. Yeah, I haven't seen any recent pictures of him either. How about you, Colin?
I'm gonna pick Omar Deckard for the win on this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right out there right now and say that it's a week out. I haven't seen anything in the last couple of weeks, but I did see an image of him about a month ago, and he looked pretty big, and for a month out he looked like he was about a week away from being on stage. So hopefully he didn't peak too soon, or if he did, at least he held on to it, or whatever way he went about it. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Omar Deckard for 1. Eric Frankhauser possibly 2nd, depending on Gregory Atoyan. We hear that he tore his quad last week, but he still managed to compete last night at the Hartford, Connecticut. So if he did tear it, then he shouldn't be even up on stage. Although Jay Cutler apparently had a torn bicep, and he managed to come 2nd in the Mr. Olympia. So look, anything is possible, I suppose. But we'll see. Yeah, so I'm going Omar Deckard 1. Fred Smalls, if he pulls in his condition, will be hanging around in the top 3, and he'll be fighting it off with Eric Frankhauser. So they're my 1, 2, and 3. So we'll go Omar, Eric, Fred for the Chicago Wings of Strength next weekend, July 6th, and that's me. Craig, what do you think is going to be number 1? Give me a number 1 pick right now. No hesitation, just throw it out there.
Fred Smalls.
All right, Fred Smalls.
I'm just saying that because I know he won't win if his condition comes in the exact same as it was this week.
Yeah.
But just off the top of my head, I'm going to say people should be talking to him. He's going to get some people saying afterwards, man, if you're dry enough. If we can see it, Colin, surely there's people up by the stage that can see it.
Yeah.
If he decarbs, takes carbs out for a few days, and does the prep properly for next week, he has a chance of winning. I'd like to see Frank Hose do well. I had a good long conversation with this guy. We were talking for about 30 minutes in Birmingham, just over and back about everything, training, you name it. And he's just such a cool guy, and for that reason, I'd like to see him come in at number one. I really would. And he's hoping for top three, so he doesn't think he could win. And that's his words, not mine.
Yeah, I remember watching a video of him on MD a couple of years back, and it's when I really got to like the guy, where he was getting up at, I don't know what time it was probably 4:30 in the morning to get up, make his food, package it all away, and you know, in the corner of his kitchen he's got a real small, it's obviously for his little daughter, a Barbie table in the corner, and you know, that was his area where he'd put his gym bag and he'd stack all his meals for the day, and you know, he's a real family man. His wife then will actually post pictures. If you get many updates, it's going to come from his wife on bodybuilding.com, and her name on bodybuilding.com as a forum user is called The Landlord. Now, she'll post pictures, she'll post updates, she'll post some videos, and you know, they really seem to be a tight-knit unit, and they've got 2 kids, and Eric, he at least was working as an athletic trainer or a personal trainer, whatever you want to call it, in his hometown, wherever he's from. I'm not quite sure, but you know, you see him, he eats in his car just like any one of the guys who are listening to this show will. They'll eat on their lunch breaks when they can. You know, he's not relying on bodybuilding as a career. I think he's doing it because he genuinely enjoys it, and he's not in it for the money more so than the success in terms of competing, not the success for the money. Because let's face it, unless you're winning Mr. Olympia or the Arnold Classic, you're not making money that's worthwhile. You know, and it's going to be taxed anyway. So you know, you put down half. Basically, the winnings in tax here is probably 50%. So if you tax out half of the winnings that you're going to get from the Olympia or any of these smaller shows, if the money is 10 grand for the winner, you're looking at coming home with 5 in your pocket. That's for all that work, all the preparation, all the dieting, all the food, and anything else that you might be doing along the way to get into shape. You know, it's absolutely not for the money. I mean, fine, you might make some from supplement contracts here and there, and I believe he was with Animal or Universal Nutrition, one or the other. I'm not sure if he's still with them, but is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good for him then, and he still has a contract, because he definitely deserves it. He's a good guy. He's very approachable, like you said. You can stand there and talk to him. I've met him as well, and obviously most people will know that the one overwhelming body part that he has is his calves. They are just ridiculous, and if he can balance out his upper half and lower half, he's definitely going to be looking to do well here at this show. I'm going to put him in 2nd or 3rd place. I wouldn't be very surprised if he finally did win a show, because he has looked excellent on occasion, but more often than not he comes in, upper body just looks a little bit smaller than the lower half, and you know, the balance doesn't always seem to be there. But I wish him the best of luck for 2nd or 3rd place at least. Get some points on the board, and hopefully within the next couple of shows before the Olympia he can actually qualify, and he can go up there and stand on the Olympia stage for his first appearance, I believe.
You know, actually what? I think if we could chop him in half, give Johnny Jackson his lower half, you'd have the greatest bodybuilder in history.
You want to put on an awful lot of proton on his legs though, because you got a black guy there and a white guy. That might not work out too well, but I hear what you're saying. But looking down at the 212 class, I got to go with Ahmed to win. Derek Farnsworth, I don't think he's going to come in 2nd. I think we're going to have Bola Oyex, I believe is his name, from Nigeria, or one of the other 2 dudes, Panexia Pierre or Rixio Tapia. You know, it's going to be someone that we don't know is going to take 2nd, but if Ahmed comes in shape, he's a little bit better known, he has got a good physique, he's going to take 1st place in my mind in the 212 category come next weekend.
Hey, I seen you a picture of 200 pounds. How can you enter it?
Yeah, that's 200 pounds and fat. That's not 200 pounds and
It's fat there, boy.
In shape. Well, I appreciate the compliment. Thanks very much. But yeah, I'm just about to tip the 200 mark. Probably in the next week or so I should get over it. I'm 199.5 at the moment. So
nice.
If I can get in there 200, what am I, 5'9", and you know, I'm gradually gaining, like you did, Craig, and I certainly did. I always used to reach a number and I'd sit there for 6 months and I wouldn't go up, because whatever I was doing I would keep doing. So if I'm working at the same job, at the same routine in the morning, same times for lunch, and go to the same places for lunch, and you're always eating the same amount of calories and the same combinations of foods, and I find every time I change a job I get bigger. Now, well, that's obviously food, but you know, when I'm training, it's, I don't know, when I move to a new town or I move to a new gym, my intensity goes up that little bit more. And especially now since moving over here to the States from, when did I move over here? January I moved over here to the States of this year. So I've been here for now about 5 or 6 months in total. And I landed at 189, 190, and now I'm at 199. And you know, that's without anything other than what you can buy over the counter. So I'm pretty happy, up near the 200 mark, and hopefully next week or the week after I can report that I have broken the 200 pound mark, and I'll let you know. So thanks again.
You'll have to post a picture on the weighing scale for us. We need proof, big guy.
I will. I'll put some weights in my pockets and no one will know I'll be 210. We'll be looking for it, but yeah, doing good. How's your own training going actually now that we're here?
Actually pretty good now, actually. Yeah, very good. I'm very happy with it. Things are coming along nicely, you know. I haven't put back on all the weight that I started with before the competition, which I'm happy with.
Yeah.
Because when I look back, I was much too heavy. At 95.5, I was too heavy, like.
Yeah.
You know, for what I want anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, that's perfect, you throw on a load of muscle at that way. That's fine, but for my own head, my own peace of mind, I don't want to look like that. So
yeah, my goal now is to get to 202 in the morning, which might take another month and a half, maybe 2 months. And once I get to 202, then it's to cut back down and see where my body weight goes. I reckon I'm at about 13% body fat at the moment, the highest I've ever been, which is not nice to look at, but you know, it's still not out of shape, but it's not in shape. So if I can cut back down maybe 10 pounds, get down to 192 in the morning, I think I should look a hell of a lot better than I ever have before, and you know, that's always going to be a plus in my mind.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So the numbers are nice, but in reality it's how you look in the mirror that really matters. So
yeah,
you know, I'll use the scale as a tool, but it's not the be all and end all. But anyways, let's move on, and up next we've got our interview of the week, and this is brought to you by discountsupplements.ie, with 2 retail stores in Terranure and Clondalkin in Dublin, and also 1 in Kilcool in County Wicklow. Your Physique Radio listeners will receive a 5% discount and a free shaker bottle on all online orders when they enter the discount code YPR at the checkout. Discountsupplements.ie, Ireland's premier online supplement store. Our guest this week has been nicknamed the Junior Guru by Dave Palumbo. He is currently working with Dave for the upcoming Teen Nationals, which happen on the 21st of July here in the United States. And recently he helped my co-host Craig Clifford prepare for his first bodybuilding competition just over 6 weeks ago. Jonathan Konevsky, welcome to Your Physique Radio.
I suppose we get the ball rolling and go straight into the questions and ask you how you actually got started in bodybuilding.
Sure, how I got started in bodybuilding. Well, growing up, my parents, they put me to go to dance classes. So I was in shape for a very long time, till I was about 9 years old. I was doing martial arts, I was doing dance. And then around when I was 10 years old, I moved to Minnesota. And I stopped playing sports, started eating a lot. I didn't like the way I looked. It was really hard making friends. And when I was around 13, parents introduced me to a trainer. And he got me, first of all, he got me in shape. Second, he taught me nutrition, he taught me training, all that stuff.
I wasn't doing my homework, I was just learning. That's all I was doing. That's all I wanted to do, was just learn and become an expert in the fitness field. And, you know, over the years, it's helped me with my success and my goals. And, it's just, I have such a love for this industry, for the sport. It's pretty much my life right now. This is what I want to do. This is all I'm interested in.
Jonathan, you've got a competition upcoming. Tell the people what it is and how are you preparing for that? How's your contest prep going so far?
So far, so good. 3.5 weeks from Teen Nationals. I'm working with Dave Palumbo. Started working around February. I had a really bad off season. Not proud of it. I got really, really overweight, and it was time to get back in shape. This show was a goal that I wanted to do since I was 13, 14 when I started training. You know, I wanted to do Teen Nationals. That was something that I wanted to do. And I made it my goal. I sent Dave my pictures in February, around February 28th. Body fat was probably, I don't know if you guys seen pictures of Trey Brewer or Leap in the offseason. I was probably worse. Okay. So it was probably around 25% body fat, 30. Now I'm in the single digits. So I've changed my body the last 12 weeks, 14 weeks. I've really, really transformed. I'm in a good spot right now. From the front, I look really, things are good from the front. These next few weeks, I'll really tighten up from the back. But I'm in a good position right now. I'm not in a position where I can post pics and put my feet up and relax, but I feel really good right now. And I'm 17. I want to be against kids that are 18, 19. And, as long as I'm improving, as long as I know that I've done everything in my power to be the best I can be, I can sleep well at night. That's just the most important thing, is that no stone is left unturned. That's it.
And when it comes to the competition, Jonathan, what do you define as success for this Teen Nationals? Is it top 5? Is it to win? What's your goal?
Be the best that I can be. I can't control how other people look. I don't know who's going to be on stage with me. It's basically just being the best that I can be from point A to point B. And if someone's better than me, there's nothing I can do about it. Let the best man win. But right now, all I can control is how I look and how hard I work. And I'm making sure that I'm doing my homework. So
that's all you can do, Jonathan, mate. That's all you can do. And like a lot of viewers out or listeners out there, you don't know this, but Jonathan helped me in my prep for the recent Waterford show. And I'll be honest, on the day of the show, honest to God, I couldn't have been happier. I really mean it. Halfway through it, I was wondering, Jesus, is this the right thing? Am I eating enough? I hope he's got this right. I'm kind of second guessing Jonathan, but you know what? On D-Day, I was the best I possibly could be. I was 101%.
It's good to hear.
Wasn't good enough to win the show, but I mean, there's nothing that would have made me good enough to win the show. But I was at my best. Another thing, Jonathan, you were saying you're working with Palumbo there now, and I love your attitude and the way you went about doing my diet and doing my prep. How does Palumbo, is he getting you doing keto, or is it something similar? Are you kind of chopping and changing, or what way is it working?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, one of the reasons I'm working with Dave, first of all, for people who get really, really fat in the off season and are trying to get in shape and they have a deadline 4 months, keto is a great diet. I respond really well to high fats, low carbs. I've always responded well to that. That's just a diet that I wanted to learn how it affected my body. I wanted to learn from Dave. I just want to be like a student of his. I just want to learn, ask him questions. I want to, keto is a great diet. It's helped me really. I don't know if, if I was on a higher carb diet, I don't know if I'd be in the condition I am now. But Dave's diet, that's basically what we're doing is keto, but once a week I have a high carb day, and we've kept that in just about since we started. I mean, as long as I kept dropping 3 pounds a week, there's no reason to take it out. So basically 6 days keto, 1 day it's just keto with added carbs. So I'll have every other meal, I'll have 40 grams of carbs, and I'll have a Carbolized shake post-workout. And as long as I'm dropping 2, 3, 4 pounds a week, there's no reason to take that off. When I stop dropping weight, then we'll take that carb day off. I haven't had cheat meals in a while. Dave never specified, when to take them out, but I kind of just took them out. I knew as long as I have that high carb day every 6 days, I don't need a cheat meal. And there's a deadline, so I need to get in shape as fast as possible. So those cheats, I don't want to risk anything. If something's screwed, if my condition sucks, I want to make sure that it's not the cheat meals. So
you had me and I had a cheat meal, probably maybe once a week.
If you're dropping weight 3 pounds a week, if everything is coming through and the cheat meal, you could stay there. There's no reason to take that off. But for me, because I'm not in a position where I can just cruise in and just relax, I need to really, this prep has been like, suicide pretty much, because it's, yeah, just, I'm dieting like crazy every day. Wake up, cardio. That's the first thing. There's no breaks, no relaxing. There's no time to waste. It's just every day you have to diet and train. And when things start to hurt and you're tired, you just have to keep pushing. And it's just that's what happens. When you get in that position where you really need to keep pushing, you're setting yourself up for, it's basically suicide. Yeah.
So Jonathan, you're 17 years old now, right?
Yeah, I'll be 18 in September. Yeah.
And are you dealing with school next year, as in high school, or are you finished with that and moving on?
No, I graduated high school. I'm going to college. I'm going to be studying pre-physical therapy and with exercise science major. So, there's a school 2 hours away from, I live in Minneapolis. 2 hours away, there's a school, Minnesota State University. And I'll be attending there for the next few years, and then I'll probably transfer somewhere else.
Okay.
So.
And long term, where do you see yourself coming out after 4 years or whatever, when you come out with your degree? What's the goal in terms of work? Are you going to continue to do contest prep on the side, or is that the goal to...
Yeah, contest prep, that's not something... The thing is, I enjoy taking people from point A to point B. I enjoy that kind of stuff, but it's not something... I don't want to be like Hani Ramba. I don't want to be like George Farr. It's fun. If I'm still learning. As long as I keep learning, and if people want to work with me, I'll work with them. I'm not trying to make a lot of money from this. I didn't charge you $1. This is just, for me, this is fun. I need experience. I feel like if I can't get at least 10 people in shape, there's no reason to, there's no reason I should charge it. So, but after college, when the physical therapy program, that's between 6 and 8 years. So even after 4 years, I'll probably still need to go to school for a few more years. This year, I'll be certified personal trainer, so I'll be making just a little bit of money here and there. I need that kind of experience, and that's about it. It's just right now, it's finish up with this contest prep. I start school in August, and when I'm at college, it's just study and then eat, sleep, and train. That's it, because I know if I want to be the best bodybuilder that I can, if I want to be the best student, I just got to put everything into it. The studying, and when I'm not studying, I'll be eating and training, and that's it. I'm not going to be partying and wasting my time and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, I'll be 32 years old this year now, and you have a wealth of knowledge. I hope you can take this the right way. If you want to be the best, you have to put in more than anybody else. Of course you do. But what I will say is that you're 17. I would keep your youth on your side as well, a small bit, don't never party, or don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
I hope you don't look back and go, God, I wish I did this and that. Whereas if you do a small bit of it, but 90% of your life is really clean and towards training and studying and so on, and give that a little bit of play, it mightn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, I get that a lot. People always tell me, you gotta go out, you have to relax, enjoy, but for me, I don't like that much. It's hard for me to just, it's not my scene, the party scene, that kind of stuff. If this is my life, this is what I want to do.
Well, that's different, because you have guys who love partying, but then they're sacrificing because they're doing a show and all that. Well, that's different. But if you don't even like going out, or you don't like that scene, then it's not a chore for you to miss it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Fair play to you.
Jonathan, when it comes to Teen Nationals Day on stage, have you got an idea in mind of where your body weight is going to be?
Well, right now I'm a few pounds under 180. I'll be tightening up considerably these next 3 weeks. I think I'm going to look really good at 165. Okay. So I think 10 pounds. If I can get 10 pounds from, just a little more fat and water, 10 pounds from now, and I'll look pretty damn good. So.
This is not your first competition, correct?
No, it's my third. I've been competing since I was 15 years old. I did 2 local shows, and this year I wanted to do Teen Nationals, yeah. So.
The first time I think you came to the forefront, let's say, in terms of the bodybuilding world, knowing who you are, was probably through RX Muscle. And I think it was a video which was recorded by RX where Dave Palumbo gives you an interview, and I think it was at the Olympia last year.
Yeah, that's correct.
And you know, you got a little bit of flack from saying, well, you know, you'd recommend this or that and whatnot, but to be fair, you've got a hell of a lot more knowledge out there than any 17-year-old I've ever known in terms of diet and nutrition and training. So, you know,
Absolutely.
I have to say that initially, you know, looking at different posts, people kind of give you a bit of a hard time about some ideas, this and that, but you have got a Q&A segment on RX Muscle, and, you know, the answers that you reply or the questions that you were asked, you never seem to have an issue in finding the correct answer for them, or at least going back and researching and bringing it out and, you know, sharing that information with people. So I think a lot of the, well, actually, tell you what, all of the hard times or the hard comments, let's say, that go towards you, I think they're very much undeserved. And to me, it's just people who are in their mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, and they're looking at a 17-year-old or 16 at the time, and you know, you're a threat basically, because nobody wants to be outdone by a teenager.
You know, those comments, I don't take them seriously. And about the Q&A, about that stuff, those are the same questions that I was asking, you know, when I was getting into bodybuilding. I wanted to know about all these, what supplements are, you know, what's effective, what's not. Those are the same questions that I asked, but I got answers. I did my research. I learned why. I learned what. And now I'm in a position where if I get those questions again, I have a good area of knowledge. I have a good area of experience that I can get an answer to them, and I'll tell them why. I'm not going to say it's just because I read it somewhere. You know, I took a nutrition class for my senior year. I took my credits at a local community college, and I took a nutrition class just for shits and giggles, just to get a credit in. And the thing is, everything is taught from a book. But when you ask the teacher why, and you know, things, she wouldn't know what to say. It's because everything's from the book. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to know why. I want to be able to explain things thoroughly, and so I made it my priority to learn. If I'm going to be doing this, then I better know why and better be able to explain it. And when Craig was asking me different questions, why am I doing this, I always had an answer. I never said it's because I said so or because of that. I don't make adjustments if they don't make sense, you understand? So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When I went through college myself, and there was a lot of exercise science and nutrition based, and we spoke about this on a previous show, I was always the guy who was asking extra questions, as in why this, why that, and again, like you, unless they could explain what they're reading from a textbook in more detail and give an actual reason, you know, I'd constantly question and go and research for myself, because a textbook is only good on paper. In reality, in the real world, it doesn't always work.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonathan, you've got, what, 3.5 weeks left? It's the 20th of July, isn't it?
It's July 21st, yeah.
July 21st, yeah. Are you prepping anyone for a different show at the moment while you're doing your own prep?
At the moment, I'm not prepping anybody. I had a couple friends do some local shows nearby. You know, some of them wanted my critique. Some they wanted like the last couple weeks just to give them some advice. But right now, no clients, nobody's prepping. I'm not prepping anybody. But if anybody were to want my help, I would help them. So.
Actually, myself and Colin were talking about this yesterday, actually, and it's a question I'd like to ask you about, because I know you're a conditioning guy. In the last 10, 15 years, it was all mass monsters winning the Mr. Olympia, you know, you're Ronnie Coleman, right, and so on. We're just thinking, you know, would you like to see it go back to the more streamlined physique, their conditioning, so on and so forth, or would you rather like the mass monster kind of win out better than conditioning? You know what I'm trying to get at?
Conditioning, that's super important, and that's every person who competes in bodybuilding knows. Conditioning is what separates the winner from the last place. When you turn from the back, you know, everybody has the muscle. That's why they compete. But as soon as you turn from the back, all eyes are on the glutes, and all the eyes are right on the detail. So whether I like the mass monsters or the streamlined physiques, it needs to be a combination of both. I think it's not who's the most shredded or who's the biggest, it's who's the best bodybuilder on stage. And to be the best bodybuilder on stage, you got to have the most muscle in the right places, the best shape, the most aesthetically pleasing, and conditioned. So I don't care if they're 300 pounds or if it makes sense for them to be Mr. Olympia, for them to, you know, if they have the physique to win, there's no questions asked. You know, mass monsters are fine. I think Phil Heath really, I think he's going to bring the sport a little different direction. I mean, he is one of the mass monsters, but he's no Ronnie Coleman. He competes around 240. He has incredible shape. Waist is getting a little bit bigger, but he has a different type of physique that we saw Jay, we saw Ronnie. Those guys were big. With Dorian, but then Phil is it's a combination of mass and aesthetics, and it's everything that you want in a bodybuilder, you know.
He kind of broke the mold a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he has everything. There's not, you know, he's arguably one of the best Mr. Olympias ever. I think you can argue that, but what he brought to the 2011 Mr. Olympia, that is something that we might never see again.
Even at pre-judging last year, everyone knew.
That was, when he came out, that's it.
I actually said to Colin on the Saturday, or was it the Friday, whatever the day the pre-judging was, and I said to Colin, if Phil Heath doesn't win this, I'm not watching bodybuilding or following it ever again.
Yeah.
I was done with bodybuilding if Phil Heath didn't win.
He could have won it last year. He could have won it in 2010.
Yeah.
Second place, he could have won it. Jay was not his best. He was good enough to win, but, you know, he could have been fuller. His 2009 package, we haven't seen that again. We haven't seen that repeated. But 2010, 2011, he is flat. In 2011, he just had that on his arm. He had that suspicious. He strained his bicep, and that didn't help him.
What do you think for this year, John? Do you think he's going to come back and stand on stage for the Olympia this year, Jay Cutler?
Well, Jay, he's doing the Chiru Classic, and Olympia is a week before. And if he's doing the Chiru and all that hype that he's trying to win that, it doesn't make sense for him to skip the Olympia.
Yeah.
He is qualified. So if Jay does do the Olympia, I don't think he's going to win. He's not going to be at his best period, just because. Have you seen him lately? Lonnie Teeper's show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's planning to do some damage at the Olympia, he's really has his work cut out for him. But Phil, he's just improving at a consistent rate. Everything is on point. He has all the tools to win it again. I mean, he has the physique. He has that, that determination. He's young. He knows he's got it. He has all the support, all the sponsors.
He's a good representative of our sport. Like, he really is.
Definitely.
Jonathan, after you win the team nationals, is it on to the junior nationals?
No, I'm not jumping that far ahead. Junior nationals, that's a whole different level. Those junior nationals, it's a level a little bit below the USA's and the NPC nationals. But if I want to do junior nationals, I need to take a good anywhere from 5 to 10 years off.
Yeah. And
just really change my look and just keep growing, let the muscle mature, and just improve and maybe in my early 20s, mid 20s, if I have the physique, if it's ready to go at that level.
Yeah.
That's, you got to start at the junior nationals or the junior USA's, or maybe while I'm still in college, I might do the collegiate nationals. That's also an option.
Yeah.
But I'm not jumping far ahead to say I'm going to win the T nationals. Right now I'm focusing to be my best, and I just, if I want to be a competitor, if I want to have a chance to win, then I have to, really bring it. And if someone else brings it harder than me, then there's nothing I can do about it. But right now, it's just I want to bring the best me that I can. And so far, it's better than my previous 2 shows. So I already won in that aspect. So now it's time to win.
Moving forward, if you could jump 10 years from now or 12 years from now and you're 28, 29 years old, do you still envision yourself being competitive in terms of you're actually competing in shows, or do you think you'll take a step back after a while?
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I'm really loving this sport. I'm really loving to this is my dream. So every day when I wake up and I'm doing my cardio and I'm training, I'm living the dream. This is what I want. When I'm 28, 29, I don't know how I'm going to feel about the sport. I don't know how I'm going to, you know, I don't like to jump too far ahead. If I want to do any significance, if I want to achieve any significance in this sport, I have to work my way up. I have to be competitive at the local level. When I can win a local show, then I can, you know, move up to the junior national level. When I can place well in the junior national level, then that's time to be a national level competitor. And, you know, you have to work your way up. I don't believe in going from last place local show to USA's or nationals. I don't believe in that stuff. I think those are for people that are, you have to, you gotta, you know, be good in, how do they say it? It's a big fish in a little pond, and then when you're a big fish in a little pond, then you go in the bigger pond, and then from there you work your way up. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jonathan, if anybody wants to get in touch with you for some diet prep or contest prep or just off-season diet advice, what's the best way to go about that?
I have a Facebook. You can search me, Jonathan Konevsky, or you can email me, j.konevsky@yahoo.com. And yeah, and if you want to get a hold of me, just contact me through there. I reply quick. I have a page on RX Muscle.
Jonathan, I'd like personally to say thank you very much for all your help. And guys, if any of you are wondering, oh, should I give him a buzz? If you're thinking about doing a show, you know what, send a text or just get on to email him. It'll cost you nothing. Believe me, this guy knows what he's doing, and he got me in much better shape than I could have ever dreamed. So if you're listening out there, guys, go for it. He's a good guy, and he'll get you to where you need to be on your day. I promise you that.
All right, thanks, Craig. Thanks for your feedback.
Well, Jonathan Konevsky, thank you very much for being on Your Physique Radio. Best of luck at Team Nationals and your future endeavours.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, buddy. Take it easy.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you to Jonathan Konevsky there, guys. Fantastic interview. Very knowledgeable guy. And really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll have you on, Jonathan, in a few weeks to see how you got on in your show, and maybe later on in the year anyway, to see how after the Olympia maybe. So moving on, guys, to the top fives of the week. This week is websites. Top 5 bodybuilding websites. So Colin, have you got a top 5 for us?
I do, and I'm going to tell you what my top 5 are. I'm going to go not necessarily in order. It kind of depends on where you're from. The big two, rxmuscle.com and musculardevelopment.com. The reason they're the big two is probably one, because RX Muscle who was once the online editor of MD, which is now Dave Palumbo. He started up RX. It's just about 4 years ago now, I'd say, that he did it, or 3.5 years ago, let's say. And it's just gone from strength to strength to strength. They've got TV shows, they've got videos, they've always got interviews after shows. They've got pretty good coverage. I will go back on that in a moment and give you one thing I don't like about it, but you know, the coverage generally is very good. They claim to be the #1 contest coverage website on the planet. I definitely think that they are covering more than anyone else out there, there's no question. One thing they are limited to is the people they can get in touch with, due to muscular development allowing for contracts, and you know, a lot of competitors have articles and columns in Muscular Development magazine or MD magazine. So, you know, you can't get in touch with Jay Cutler, you can't get in touch with Victor Martinez and the likes of these guys, or even if you wanted to bring on Charles Glass to do an interview, you can't, because he's contracted with MD. So, you know, in that aspect, RX are limited. However, with what they can access and the people who are not contracting, the coverage that they do and the videos they put up and the content that they put up, you know, it's definitely the one place I will go on a regular occasion throughout the day. At least 2 or 3 times a day I'll click on the site and see if anything is new. Now, like with any sites, there's always going to be parts that you don't like, and with RX, to me, a lot of crap ends up on that first page, and it's basically people talking about, oh, Katy Perry divorces such and such. I'm like, that's not strength related, that's not bodybuilding related. How the hell is that appearing on what's meant to be the hardcore bodybuilding website? But yet if we post
Central, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, but if I post up this radio show, for example, onto their webpage, it will get taken down. And there's reasons for that, and I understand the reasons, but at least our content is actually bodybuilding related, whereas Katy Perry is absolutely got nothing to do. I wouldn't say she's ever stepped into a gym in her life, and she appears on on the front page of Muscle Central and RX more often than a lot of stuff that should. But that's just one thing, and a lot of that you can blame on the people who frequent. You can't always moderate every single thread or every single post that's put up. However, a lot of these irrelevant posts, I'll call them, or irrelevant threads, actually come from Dave Palumbo himself. Now, again, you can say it's his website, he can do whatever the hell he wants, fine, but I just don't think they're necessary. I think put them in their gossip column or somewhere like that. They don't need to be in Muscle Central. With MD then, it's, you know, if you want to be in touch with Jay Cutler, that's where you're going to see him. If he posts or if any update videos come up, if any exclusives come up, it's going to be on MD. That's the first place you're going to see them. For that reason alone, because they have got the top 2 or 3 guys, apart from Phil Heath, you know, MD is good for that aspect. But I have to say, I don't go there very often. Flex Online, it used to be one I would visit on quite a regular occasion because they used to have Phil Heath on there. He was Weider AMI athlete, but you know, now he's or is he still, no sorry, he's still Weider AMI, but they tend not to do very much coverage with him, which is disappointing for me and the fans, I'm sure, but you know, it is what it is. We've got Irish Muscle in there, Craig. I have to put these guys on because they're covering Irish bodybuilding first and foremost. I have said in the past that I would like to see a forum put on there, and that should take very little managing whatsoever. As long as it's up, it's up. Check in once in a while to make sure there's no Katy Perry ads, and you know, cut them out. But other than that, Irish Muscle do really well. And I watched a video last night actually of an interview of one of the competitors from the Universe. His trainer is Lee Priest. We all know who Lee Priest is. So it's nice to see somebody going out of their way who's not Irish born, Irish raised, who is actually taking a huge interest in Irish bodybuilding and allowing the rest of the fans around the country to get in touch and get in contact with the bodybuilders themselves, you know, through the exclusive photo shoots or the exclusive video interviews. You know, it's really good, and I just want to say again to irishmuscle.ie, keep doing the job that you're doing. It's good and everyone's happy. For the English crowd then, I'd have to say muscletalk.co.uk seems to be the one that's visited the most and has lots of updates. And you know, I used to go on there. That was one of the first websites I used to post under 6, 7, 8 years ago back now, and it was always up to date and the content was good, and there, you know, I really enjoyed it. Now I've stepped away from it in recent years, but most recently I've gone back now that we have had on the likes of Masoom Butt and Ian Chambers, and you know, hopefully in the near future we'll have some more of Ian Chambers' current clients, which are all going to be English folk, so the muscletalk.co.uk guys will be able to relate to that a little bit more. But they'll be my 5. So you got RX, MD, Irish Muscle, Muscle Talk, and Flex Online. Craig, what are yours?
Well, I've got 4 of the same, Colin, except I have bodybuilding.com in there instead of Muscle Talk. And I just put it in because it's kind of my starting place. That's where I started looking at forums, and if I needed any information, I was going to bodybuilding.com and so on and so forth. There's not much I can say about anything else that you haven't said. I mean, Flex Online, they have loads of training videos. Like you say, they have Physique, but you never see much of them. But you will get lots of, you know, like your Dennis James, your Johnny Jacksons, all these type of guys, you know, putting videos up and so on and so forth. So it's actually, it's a good one. Flex Online is still quite good. Irish Muscle, of course, and for everything you said, Colin, and they're doing us very proud. MD, very good, like you said, Colin, because of the athletes they have. Even the odd video you see, and they're pretty good videos, you know, they're keeping us up to date. RX would be the one I'd frequent the most as well. But like you said, you mentioned something there about RX not having athletes and can't interview certain people. That was case in point yesterday.
Yep.
When Juan Morel won the show, his trainer and his guru is Dave Palumbo, and Dave Palumbo owns RX Muscle and runs RX Muscle, but yet he couldn't interview his own client after the win, which is kind of sad. That is quite sad, because the guy was in tears on stage and he was delighted with the win, and I'm sure he'd have loved to thank Dave Palumbo on RX Muscle, but he can't because he's a Weider guy. He's Flex Online. So I don't know. It's strange. That's so strange. Again, that's a lot of politics and bodybuilding as well, and the sooner they get rid of that kind of crap, the better, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you know, they're getting paid for the exclusivity, so if I'm going to be offered, say, 20 grand a year just to talk to MD versus talking to Irish Muscle, for an example, you know, you got to pay the bills, and as much as friendships may be frayed, hopefully everyone will be grown up and mature enough about it to understand it's a business decision and it's not personal, you know. It's because 20 grand in my pocket is a hell of a lot better than in someone else's pocket, so I think
absolutely. I understand that part of it, definitely, but I think there's a lot of politics coming into it a bit too much now, like where it's getting a bit ridiculous, like.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I know there's sponsorship and there's money, and I suppose, look, that's a massive thing, but just for your regular person, when they log on, they'd like to see X, Y, who won, not like RX Muscle putting up this person, that person should have won just because they're with RX, or MD put up this and this just because they're with MD. Just I like the neutrality. I suppose where we are right now, Colin.
Yeah.
We've no ties to anybody, you know, so we can say who we deserve to come first and who deserve to come last, which just being honest is what I like, you know. Saying that now next year, RX Muscle could buy us out, and we'd be all, we deserved that last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who knows? But
we won't sell out, guys. We won't sell out.
You see, that's the thing. I don't give a crap who wins or who loses, because I've no relationship, I've no business dealings, I've nothing. Whereas the likes of RX or MD, you know, they're going to be pumping out, this guy should have won, this girl should have won. And it can influence you, you know, media propaganda, it can absolutely influence you into who you think. And the likes of us, when we say, he's American, he's probably going to do better. In reality, that probably is the case, but it shouldn't be, you know. It is the case because we see them more often. The judges know who they are. Even if they have never judged them before, they still have seen their videos, they've seen a picture, they've heard their name. And, you know, people tend to reward who they know over who they don't. It's very hard to criticise someone who you know on a personal level. And luckily for us, you know, there's very few out there who we really care about hurting their feelings. You know, it's just, it is what it is. It's an opinion, it's criticism, it's constructive, but, you know, we're not there to hurt anyone, we're there to try and help, basically.
Yeah, and can I just add as well, you know, we're talking about who came first, second and third, who should have came first, second and third, who we think will come first, second and third next week. Guys, log on to our Facebook page. If you disagree with us, please let us know and tell us why, and we'd like to have this conversation on Facebook and maybe even bring it on to the radio show next week. If one of our friends on Facebook says, no, I think Juan deserves to win, or Mo deserves to win, or I think whoever's going to win next week, you know what I mean? Say, I think Fred Smalls is going to win. Let us know. Don't be shy, guys. We can have these conversations. We'll lead into better shows and better talking, you know?
I'll actually put this out there right now, Craig. If any one of our listeners actually wants to come on the air and have a discussion leading up to the Olympia, so we can have your opinion, my opinion, and we can have one of our listeners' opinions on air about who we believe is going to place top 5, top 6, you know, let's have that conversation. Absolutely, get in touch through Facebook, facebook.com/Your Physique Radio, and we'll gladly have you on the air, male, female, young or old. As long as you've got an idea of bodybuilding, we're more than happy to have you on the air with us for an Olympia preview.
Absolutely, Colin, dead right, man, well said. You know, guys, your opinion is just as valid as my opinion, as Colin's opinion. Let's get in there, let's have this conversation, let's make it happen, guys. At the end of the day, we're doing this radio show not for me and Colin, we're doing it for everyone else. Hopefully you're listening, and hopefully you're agreeing with some things, disagreeing with other things. That's what this is all about. Just getting people talking about bodybuilding and getting talking about fitness and the industry, you know?
Yeah, well, Craig, I can absolutely tell you that people are indeed listening. I'm just going to pull up the list of countries here and give people a rattle off of who we have in there and the fan base that we're creating across the world, which is far more than I won't say wanted, but definitely expected. I thought we'd be confined to UK, Ireland, and a couple here in the States maybe, but very basically we've got 47 different countries throughout the world who have actually tuned into us. Now that's
pretty impressive.
Not many people can name 47 countries. So, you know, we're doing pretty well. The USA is our biggest number, which is great. The UK is up second. Ireland is in a tight third. Singapore is up there, Australia is up there. We've had hits from Turkey, Ghana, Malaysia, South Africa, Spain, Romania, Norway, Taiwan, Austria, Canada, Germany. There's a country in there which is just symbols and letters, which I no idea what country it is, but you know who you are. Thanks for listening in. And there's a bunch more down the list. So, you know, USA, the UK, and Ireland are our biggest three at the moment. So, in that order. Everyone else, thanks for listening, guys. We do appreciate that you are tuning in. It appears up on our map what country you're coming from. Don't worry, it doesn't give me your actual home address. So we're pretty happy in moving forward that our listenership is going to keep building and building and building, and we can only thank those who are listening right now to me say this for that. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in each week and spread the word. We are around and we're on every single week, iTunes, YouTube, and on our Facebook page. Just search Your Physique Radio and we're going to show up in any one of those three outlets. Alright, well, with that then, guys, the next segment is going to be Q&A. It's brought to you by Body Benefit Health and Fitness. For more information, visit Body Benefit Health and Fitness on Facebook. Body Benefit Health and Fitness, making fitness fun. Craig, you've got a question on your end. I've one on mine. Let's go with you first this week.
Okay, the question I picked for this week, and thanks again, guys, for sending in other questions, but the one I'm picking this week is from Philip in Manchester, in England. He says, I'm currently trying to lose body fat, not for bodybuilding, but for my health. When I reach my goal, I want to start gaining muscle, but for now, I just want to slim down. I was 100 kgs, that's 220 pounds, guys, when I started at my goal. And my goal is to get to 80 kgs, which is 176 pounds. So he's 5'7", he's never exercised before, he just decided to lose weight. He says, I joined the local gym and researched some good diets. Now, it's been 2 months since I started and I'm down 8 kgs. So he's down 17.5 pounds so far, guys. And the last week to 10 days, my weight is starting to even out. And I've even lost, and I haven't not lost anything in the last week. So my trainer in the gym thinks I should have a cheat meal once a week. But I don't want to because I feel it will set me back, and I'm nervous that once I start eating a cheat, I won't stop. Saying that, I would love a burger, or hot dog, or pizza. So my question is, should I try a cheat meal? And if yes, what should I eat? And that's Philip in Manchester. Well, I'll roll off my answer first, and Colin, you can chime in if you want.
Yep.
Right, where do I start? Right, to answer your question anyway, should I eat a cheat meal? I mean, there's probably going to be many reasons why your results have been slowing down. Loads of reasons, but your trainer might have a point in a cheat meal. It'll help speed up your metabolism for one. It'll keep cravings at bay. It'll satisfy any cravings that you might have or get. You know, it's handy in that respect. Now, I think, this is only personal opinion, I think a cheat should be the last meal you eat before bed. No, not just before bed, no, either maybe a couple of hours before, but it should be the last meal you eat. Having a meal early in the day will push your willpower to the limit, because you will want more junk food and more type of cheating food. If you went out for lunch at 1 p.m. in the day, had had a pizza, and then you had the dessert after, and you thought that was your cheat, it's going to be a really long 8-9 hours, the next awakening 8-9 hours, because you have all that built up inside you. You won't get the cravings, you won't get all them cravings if you have, say you go to bed at 12 o'clock and you have a pizza at 9, half 9. It's 2.5 hours later, you're in bed, you're asleep, you wake up Sunday morning or the next morning, you're good to go all over again. You're starting fresh, you know, it's quite a good thing. Don't think it's an opportunity either, guys, to pick out a cheat meal. Is exactly that, it's a meal. It could be a bit of pizza, it could be a burger, it can be a slice of apple tart, it can be a bit of cake, whatever you want it to be, it can be, but it's a bit, it's not a full pizza and some taco fries and then a quarter pounder with cheese because you're going nuts all in that 1 hour. Don't, guys, don't Christmas Day it, it'll get you, I promise. To help prevent hitting the wall as well, make sure your training is getting progressively harder too. I'm just touching now on the question about the cheat meal, but wondering why your results have slowed down. If you're doing, I presume your trainer knows this anyway, but just thinking you could be doing the same workout at the same intensity for the last 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now your body's going to get used to it, of course. That you need progressive overload, so you need to get a little bit faster, a little bit tougher. So keep getting your training done. Now, kind of finishing off, I would try, like you said, you wouldn't mind a hot dog, a pizza, or a burger. Just whenever you want, a burger of your choice, whatever you want it to be some night. Believe me, it'll do more good than harm, I promise you that. And just see how you feel. You see, just on that as well, if you are allowed, if you're having a cheat, say on a Friday night, and you're craving it on Tuesday, at least your brain knows, and you know you're kind of going, right, I'll be able to have X, Y, and Z on Friday. And then it's fine, because you're thinking about it and it's gone and it's done. But if you say, no, I'm not having any cheat meals or having none of this or none of that, it's going to creep up in you. It's like actually if you went to buy a blue BMW in a garage and you're thinking about buying it, will I buy it, will I not? I guarantee you drive home that day, you probably see about 70 blue BMWs on the road. I guarantee it, because it's like someone, like, if you see a cake, oh, that looks lovely, and then you walk past the shop, all you'll be thinking about is cake. Cake in my belly, I promise. Guys, cheat meals can be a lot better. Now, when it comes to the bodybuilding side of it, I know you're not on the bodybuilding side of it yet, and you said you're only doing it for your health, which is fantastic. When it comes to the bodybuilding side of it, it's got to be much better. And like Jonathan said in the interview, guys, you only take the cheat meal if you need it. It shouldn't be a part of it. It's like, oh, I have to have a cheat meal. If you don't need a cheat meal, don't eat it. Yeah. If you feel I'm good, I keep going. Absolutely do that. You don't have to do it. So that's probably my 2 cents on that question. I hope that helps you out, Philip. And again, like I say every week, if you want me to elaborate on it even more, send me another email or throw me up on Facebook again, and then we'll see where we go. All right.
I just want to add to that there, Craig. There's 2 thought process basically behind a cheat meal. One is to do it and one is to not. So you've got the first idea to do it is, your body will adjust to what you're doing. It will start burning fewer calories because it realizes how much energy it needs to do, and it's trying to conserve, because your body doesn't want to lose weight, right? It wants to gain weight, it wants to store weight, and that's basically the natural thing. So your body doesn't want to lose that weight. But if you're trying to lose weight and you feel like it's slowing, and like Craig said, presuming that your training is changing up, and that your cardio is going from probably slow, steady, and if that's not working, throw in some interval training days, and if that doesn't help speed the metabolism, make sure your foods are all in check, and then if that's still the case, fine, I can envision a cheat meal in there on a Friday or Saturday or whatever day it is. However, as Craig just mentioned and Jonathan said earlier, if you're still losing weight on a daily basis or a weekly basis, that cheat meal, it is cheating. There's no question you're cheating if you have the cheat meal if you don't need it. Now, if your metabolism has slowed to the point where you're not burning any more energy, which basically means that your hormone levels, your thyroid levels, your leptin and your IGF levels have come down, which means your metabolism will slow, then absolutely have a meal. I wouldn't call it a cheat meal as much as that's what it kind of is, but more of a kickstart meal. I prefer to call it a kickstart meal. So if you have a kickstart meal, end of the week, wonderful. But only if you're not continuing to lose weight. You're absolutely setting yourself back if you're losing weight and you add a cheat meal. There was no need for it. It's not required. But then the other side of it, basically, there's people who say that, cheat meals on days when you're trying to lose weight, absolutely a no-no. But if you're on a weight loss process, when are you not trying to lose weight? You're always trying to lose weight. The big idea is it will stimulate the metabolism again. Everyone is individual. There's very little studies, if any, out there to prove whether it works or doesn't work, because every human being is different. Everybody's metabolism and hormone levels are different. They will all respond differently, as well, depending on the foods you're eating, whether they're carbohydrates, high density carbohydrates, or if they're high fats or high proteins. The meal you choose as well should be specific to you, so you'll get used to the idea. If high carbs work, great, and I lose weight next week, wonderful. If I just need some low carbohydrates, some high fats, wonderful. But as Craig said, if you don't need it, don't have it. wait till your metabolism absolutely stops and then go forwards. The cheat meal or the kickstart meal, I feel it works. Anyone I've had looking to lose weight, I've always encouraged, right, this is the plan, and when it stops working, we'll change some more things. When that stops working, we'll look at it again. When that stops working, then we start introducing that kickstart meal. But again, only when it's required. So play around with it, but absolutely don't go out and hit up McDonald's, Burger King, Abracadabra, and all these places all in one day, because it's a cheat day. It should be a cheat meal. Use it for what it is. It's a tool, not a day off.
The cheat day, cheat meal thing actually is well said, Colin. There's a lot of people think I can eat whatever I want today and I'll start again tomorrow.
You know, there's some people out there who can pretty much diet on any types of foods, and calorie versus calorie works for some people, especially if it's just weight loss. But if you are trying to conserve the muscle that you currently have, at least, regardless of whether it's just for weight loss right now, Philip, I definitely recommend, your protein levels should be up there. At least, regardless of whether you're training or not, put in a gram a pound if you can. And believe it or not, increasing your protein alone might actually, has been shown to help in weight loss, just by increasing your protein and doing nothing else. So there's two reasons for that. One, protein is harder to digest, so your body has to work harder to do it. And secondly, if you are doing any muscular damage in the gym, which you will, and day to day you will, that protein will help repair that muscle, and the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, and it's a nice process. So definitely keep your protein levels high regardless of what type of diet you're doing. That's my advice and my approach with everyone I train, and it always works. There's no question. You follow the plan, you get the results. You just got to trust the process. But like Craig said, if you have any more questions or you want us to go into any more detail, get back in touch with us through Facebook, which is the way you did this time around, and we'll get back in a little more detail for you if you want. Second question then is coming in from a gentleman in Seattle. He has asked not to be named, so we'll call him Joe.
Call him Sleepless.
We call him Sleepless in Seattle wants to know, with the Olympics starting soon, how many of the athletes do you think we will see competing are going to be on steroids? My dad says none because they're heavily tested, but I think some will be using stuff for sure. What do you think? I think you're correct there, Sleepless. I absolutely am convinced that many an athlete will be using anabolics, or even during competition. Never mind tapering off coming in, but even during competition, there's going to be athletes out there who have their medical assistant or their doctor or whatever you want to call them with them, who is absolutely going to be helping them out. Now, can I name who these people are? No, because look, unless they get caught, nobody knows. But I'll give you an idea of the stats that are involved. So obviously with 2012 still approaching, I have no numbers for that, except that there's estimated to be about 12,000 athletes competing, alright? So if we go back to the Beijing 2008 Olympics, there was 4,700 drug tests administered, 10,500 athletes. So basically every 1 out of 2 people had a test at some stage. Now, out of those tests, there was 20 reported cases. Now, reported means they were actually brought up and whoever that person was ejected from the Olympics, and wonderful. The reason they say reported is because there are tests, and it has been shown in the past, and I'll bring one up in a moment, a very famous one in fact, where somebody was caught but their medal wasn't taken away from them. Staying with Beijing right now, 20 reported cases in 2008. If 20 people are getting caught, I guarantee you there's 10 times that amount, at least 10 times that amount, who were tested and absolutely nothing showed up because they knew what they were doing. Victor Conte, who was the guy behind the whole Balco scandal with Barry Bonds and Jose Canseco and all this kind of stuff, and Marion Jones, he said if you get caught it's because you're not intelligent. Alright, now take that for what it is, but if you're going to take drugs for sports and you don't want to get caught, there are ways around not getting caught, and I guarantee you there are many an athlete doing that right now because they know that their friend is getting away with it, or someone they know on the track is getting away with it, or someone in the weight room is getting away with it. So if they can do it, why can't I? And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, some of these guys and girls get caught. But absolutely there will be people caught for drugs in the Olympics 2012 next month, and there will be a hell of a lot more who are not caught who are doing it. Craig, what do you think?
Totally agree with you, Colin, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's for every test they do these days, for testing for this, testing for that, and there is still no test for growth hormone, I believe.
Yeah.
But for other anabolic steroids, if they do this test, you guarantee most of the guys, like Victor Conte said, being stupid, most of the guys know they've got to do X, Y, and Z before the test, and they get shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look, to be honest, guys, this mightn't be politically correct thing to say, but we all want to see the 100 meters in 9.4 seconds. We want to see guys jumping ridiculous lengths, jumping ridiculous heights, throwing the shot put ridiculous lengths. You know what I mean? The longer the better. We crave it. We're probably just as bad for all of it. Like, and the more we want this, the more the athletes will give it to us. You know what I mean? Right or wrong, you make the call yourself, but it is what it is, I think, anyway.
Yeah, I'm just looking at in 1967. It's when the whole drug doping policy was put in place, and it began then from the 1968 Olympics, and it covers the winter and the summer games. But just to give you an idea, the top sports which have been shown or proven to have athletes who are taking banned substances, probably no surprise, weightlifting is up there number one. Track and field or athletics comes in a very close second. Cross country skiing is in third. Equestrian, which is horses, guys, comes in fourth place with 8 cases since 1968 where there's been drug doping. Ice hockey and wrestling, and then it keeps going down and down and down. But I mean, we all know, especially the Irish listeners are going to know about Cian O'Connor from 1996 or 2000 Olympics.
I think it was 2000, Colin, I think.
Where his horse was taking a banned substance. Well, sorry, the horse wasn't taking it, but the horse was given a banned substance, and basically it was for his anxiety, apparently. So apparently the horse would get very anxious and kind of a little bit sketchy after he'd do hydrotherapy work, so basically water work in the pool. So they started feeding him this drug or substance, whatever you want to call it, to calm him down post exercise or prior to, whatever it was. Sure enough, they know the banned list just as much as any of the athletes who are running track and field know the banned list. If you take it, know that the risk is there to get caught. It is cheating technically on the rule book, but if everyone else is doing it, Craig, do you think it's cheating?
That's it. Like, yeah, it's such a tough call. What's the saying? Is it either to beat them or join them, or whatever that saying is?
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean. So if you keep coming last in a 100-meter sprint, and there's 7 other guys who are taking stuff, and you know it, and you know your natural, say, it's like, okay, I'm sick of coming last. They're getting away with it. If I do it, I have a chance of cutting into the medals. So,
yeah.
It's hard for everyone involved, to be honest. It's hard, like, because, is it morally right, morally wrong to take it? I don't know. But like you said something earlier on about someone getting caught and they still have their medal.
Yeah, bring it up, go on for it.
Yeah, this is about Carl Lewis, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Because, guys, he was, when in 1988 in Seoul, I believe he was in the final against Ben Johnson, who was from Canada. And Ben Johnson, as we all know, won. And this was one of the most high-profile medal strips of recent times. And he got a test a day later, he failed, obviously, and so on and so forth. So he got the medal taken off when Carl Lewis stepped up to the plate and took his gold that Ben Johnson won. Now, it came out that Carl Lewis had tested positive as well. But because he was the poster boy or the golden boy of athletics, and Ben Johnson was a relatively new guy, he was Canadian, I don't know, call it what you will, it was kind of brushed under the carpet. And this is why, if you any seen the documentary Bigger, Stronger, Faster, it's actually, they go into it a good bit in this now. I might have the details a bit off, but it's basically, he did exactly what Ben Johnson was doing, and they both got caught, but one got to keep the medal and is still one of the greatest athletes of all time, and one is a scapegoat for drugs. So, again, guys, you call it how you see it.
Yeah, it's you will, if you go back through the actual testing from each country has their own procedures, and then the International Olympic Committee have the overall say in how it goes, and you will have people testing others whom they actually know. They'll know Joe Bloggs, or they'll know Mary Murphy from down the road, and they'll be doing their tests. They'll see the results. Sometimes these results are not actually sent off to the Olympic Committee prior. And they'll say, well, look, buddy, if I send in this test, or if I take another test with the same quantities, you're going to be done. And this does happen, and it absolutely does happen. At the end of the day, Craig, these guys, they're taking whatever they're taking, or they're doing whatever they're doing to win. It's plain and simple. Their careers are on it, their jobs are on the line, they've got families who are depending on them. And then you've also got the self-belief that, I can do this, but I might need a little bit of assistance. And like we said, if it's a level playing field, if everyone's using it, then maybe it's more fair. But at the end of the day, it's their physique, it's their choice. If they want to inject, if they want to take a pill, if they want to do whatever they want to do to win, look, it's their choice. I'm not going to argue whether it's right or wrong. Let them do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll bring up one here that's close to home for the Irish people who are listening. Recently, a marathon runner from Ireland, a guy called Martin Fagan, who was actually training here in Arizona, where I'm living, in Flagstaff. He'd been training here, and he recently got tested and shown to have been doping with EPO. Now, a lot of people will recognise EPO from cycling. Basically, when you use EPO, it allows your body to utilise oxygen faster. So oxygen attaches to hemoglobin, which is increased by using EPO, and more oxygen in your body, the longer you can keep going at a faster pace. Now, this Martin Fagan gentleman claimed that prior to using it, he was going on chat boards looking for suicide forums and the easiest way and the quickest way to do in with yourself, basically. And he decided that EPO would take him out of his mental instability. Now, it just so happens that EPO is probably one of the best drugs that he could possibly use to make him win a race. This wasn't something where it was just ad lib, there's a guy here right now who has it, will I try it? He said himself, he went online, he ordered it from some online company, got the vials, brought it back, and he claims that as he was about to inject it, this must be how a junkie feels. How low have I let myself go? But in reality, he knew what he was doing. I don't care. He knew what he was doing. And then he basically says that he can handle the blame himself, what it's done to his career and such, but he hates what it has done to other people, his family, and the other Irish athletes. To be fair, the only thing it's done to the other Irish athletes is put them under the microscope, saying, well, if he's doing it, you're probably doing it. Other than that, I couldn't care if one of my competitors gets done for taking stuff. Happy enough, one guy less to think about. I don't know, to claim that was for a mental state or a mental state of mind to improve his well-being as opposed to improve his running times and his qualification for the 2012 Olympics, he must think everybody else in the whole world, and especially Ireland, his teammates and his family and friends, are just completely stupid. One of his reasons was, he was down on money, but yet he's still living here in the States in a training camp, and he's buying drugs online. His money couldn't have been too bad if he's managing to still do that, Why didn't he go home and sit on the dole queue and go running in the morning and just eat regular foods like everyone else is supposed to be doing? It's ridiculous, the excuse that these people come up with. Or we go back to Carl Lewis, who was second but managed to take the first place gold, like you said, in 1988, Seoul, Korea. He claimed, his initial claim was that the substance, or the banned substance that he was tested for and found to be using, was from an inhaler. Now, regardless of whether it was from an inhaler or not, there's a list, and the list clearly states, do not take any of these substances. There's no question, under no circumstances are you allowed to take them. Sure enough, you get caught, you're done, and rightly so. But to go online and order something online, to bring it home, to inject it, and expect people to believe that you weren't doing it to cheat, is just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just ridiculous. But,
I mean, if he's getting an inhaler, it's got to be prescribed. It's not as if his doctor doesn't know who it's Carl Lewis.
Exactly, yeah.
It's coming up in an Olympic year. You know, I mean, come on, just not. It's not. I'm not buying it. Not a hope. Not for 100 years.
Yeah.
If he came to call to my door and played his innocence, I still wouldn't believe it. Like,
You know, I'm gonna bring up another person. I'm not gonna name the name because I'm not fully sure of the circumstances, but I'll give you a brief rundown. Basically, this is a female long distance runner. I'm talking 10,000 meters. I believe she was from Carlow, my hometown actually, and she got done for taking nandrolone. Now, nandrolone again is very good for long distance athletes as it allows you to train a little bit harder and longer. But she claims it was in her protein powder. Now, believe me, if nandrolone was in protein powders out there, there would be a hell of a lot more protein powder sales. You know, it's
and you're too much bigger host.
yeah, absolutely. There's no way a supplement company is going to pump some nandrolone into the protein powder and hope that an athlete takes it and feels, well, you know what, this X brand is making me faster or stronger or more endurance. The excuses that these people bring up are just ridiculous. I mean, at least have a good story. If you're going to get caught, at least have a good story or just come clean. Don't try and pretend everyone's a complete asshole and they haven't got a clue, you know. It's, that stuff annoys me. If you're going to cheat and get caught, fine, admit it. But don't try and hide between some crappy story about clouds and stars and the sunshine. You know, it's just not happening.
I think Marion Jones, like when she was caught, she just came straight out with it and said it, I believe.
She actually...
It was just, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, she was part of that Balco scandal as well, and she was using what was called the clear. And it was basically called a clear because they couldn't find it. And it again allowed, you know, for increased speed and increased recovery times and whatever not from training. So, you know, she did quite well. And I remember seeing her one time in Gold's Gym in Venice actually, and you could clearly see she was still training. This was after her ban had come through. She was still training hard and doing what. But it turns out she ended up signing for a women's NBA team here in the States.
Really?
Yeah, now I don't know if she's playing this year, but last year she was playing WNBA here in the States, professional basketball. So she's definitely athletic, you know what I mean? It's not just she can run fast, she obviously has athletic ability. So, you know, once an athlete, always an athlete. But she's one of the few, I mean, there's a few guys you'd probably know better than I have, who played professional baseball and football in the same year, the same season. And there's a couple, there's very, very rare, but with today's demand, it's not as common. But if you look at the draft this year, one of the quarterbacks that went through used to play professional baseball. He then went back to college, started playing as a quarterback in college, and got drafted for the NFL this year. Yeah, I think he's 28 or 29, so he's going to be one of the oldest NFL rookies in history, I believe.
Whoa.
So that guy, again, obviously is athletic. If he played professional baseball 5-6 years ago, and now he's playing professional football as a quarterback, you know, the guy has talent somewhere. So, you know, more power to him. But again, there are more sports that we could go into in terms of drug use and everything else. But, you know, the results are out there. People take performance enhancing drugs to succeed. Why? Because they work. It's plain and simple. They're developed for other reasons. They're not developed for helping athletes. Well, in the most part, they're not. But obviously, the side effect is from testosterone. It not only improves somebody's ability to fight HIV, but it also improves their muscular strength and recovery times. Hence, bodybuilders love this stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. Craig, next week's topics will be covering the Wings of Strength, which happens on July 6th. All categories are in here, guys, except bikini and men's physique. We gave you the list earlier, so hopefully you have some predictions as well, and you'll hear ours, whether they come true or not, come next week. Our topic of the week will be cardio, do's and don'ts. So whether you're gearing towards fitness or weight loss or just general health, our top 5s next week will be the best bodybuilders to never win the Olympia. So expect to hear the likes of Kevin Levrone and Flex Wheeler mentioned in there. And we'll be back with our Q&A. So if you have any questions about past shows, future topics, or anything we've talked about right now today, let us know, and we'll be happy to answer your questions on air. We do limit to twice per week, so we are backed up a little bit, but by all means, if your question is a good one, we'll get it on next week. Craig, our contact information, how does that go?
our contact information. So if you want to contact Colin directly, guys, you can log on to www.yourphysiquepersonaltraining.com. If you want to contact myself, you can catch me on www.facebook.com/Castlemaine Gym. You can contact us both on the show at facebook.com/Your Physique Radio. You can email the show at yourphysiqueradio@gmail.com, and you can follow us both on Twitter at Physique Radio.
Alright, Craig, well, with that then we come to the end of episode number 6 of Your Physique Radio. A big thank you to everyone who has been tuning in each week, and we hope that you will continue to do so. Spread the word. So with that then, until next week, remember, it's your physique.
And it's your choice.